So today we have with us Mr. Raghu. He is a SAP consultant who recently moved to Germany. And the best part is he worked in India for almost 15 years. And this is his first switch. And the first switch itself is to Germany. So this is going to be an interesting story. And maybe you can start with your introduction a little bit. And then also tell us about the reason why you chose Germany and how you managed to stay in the same company for 15 years in India and what motivated you to come to Germany and find a job here.
So thank you, Anoop, for your quick introduction. Just as you would like to help more people, my intention is also to help as much people as I can. And through this video, if I'm able to help at least one person, that will be of immense satisfaction for me. So let me introduce myself quickly. My name is Raghu. I'm an SAP HCM consultant. I've been working in India for the last 14 years and 6 months until the end of November 2020. And from early December, I moved to Germany, and I've started my life here as a SAP HCM consultant. Well, in my earlier organization, I was really comfortable there. I did not see any reason why I should leave. I had enough challenges on my plate. I've handled and managed different roles, uh, but I was also looking for an international exposure, and that has what led me to look for opportunities outside India. And then when I was finalizing where to go, a couple of things on my hand were Canada and Germany. These were the two options I came up with. Uh, the reason why I choose Germany over Canada is because of the healthcare system that Germany is currently having, and the type of welcome that they give for expats, which is what I really liked. It's not as saturated, in my opinion, as it is in the US or Canada. It's relatively fresh, and there's a good opportunity for people to grow, especially expats coming from India. One of the other reasons was my brother is also here, and I thought probably it will be a family if we are all together. So these were the two reasons that mainly motivated me to come to Germany, and then it happened.
Cool. That's really cool. So, moving on to my next question, which is basically, could you please explain your job hunting process a bit? Because you applied to job while you were still in India, right? So that's something which interests most of the people. And so, which platform exactly you used for applying to this job, and what was the whole process that you followed?
Yeah, I think when I started looking for jobs, I was not very confident that I will get a job from India, because as everyone can imagine, it's easier for people in Germany to get a job in Germany, but if you're trying from another country, it might be difficult. That's the impression I had. Um, but then, nevertheless, I went ahead and started my job hunting. I think the first step of any job hunting is to understand the market. You need to understand whether your role exists in that market, that country, and if yes, how are you going to get paid and what is the average pay. The first thing I've done is to go online, uh, Google a couple of things, and understand how are the job openings for my SAP HCM consultant role. After a fair bit of research, I realized that it's a good market. And then there are a lot of websites that give you a pay range based on your experience. They're available at a quick Google search, and then everyone can go there and find out what they're getting paid. Now, once you have an estimate of those two, the research is done. Then you start with your resume and cover letter. So the important thing that I've noticed in Germany as compared to India is you need to have a cover letter, which we don't usually have in India. Cover letter is simply a quick introduction of yourself and why you believe you're more suitable for that role. So I went ahead and created my own resume. To be honest, I did not know what a German format was. So all that I did was I modified my resume, put my picture, added little more graphics, made it look more pleasing. That was from a visual standpoint. From a visual standpoint, I made it look as appealing as possible. I just used the templates in the Word. So if you go to Word and type resume templates, there are several templates that are there that can be used. I think the maximum amount of time I spent was on creating a good resume. What I've realized is that in your resume you don't have to put a lot of things. It has to be very concise when you're applying for especially job applications in Germany. It has to be very concise. So my recommendation would be if someone of like say 10 years of experience, try and keep it to 2 or 3 pages to a maximum, and try and be as specific as possible. So this is how I've designed my resume, and then once I designed my resume, I started applying on a couple of portals. The 2 portals that I mainly used were Glassdoor and then LinkedIn. These were the 2 portals that I've used extensively. Of course, there are other portals like Zing, and then there are Stepstone, which can also be explored, but I was sticking to mainly 2 things. The key thing that also another important thing what I've done was to make sure that I spend good amount of quality time every day. So I had a schedule set up for myself, spend 30 minutes every day, go to Glassdoor, go to LinkedIn, search for each and every job that even matches with 50% of my job description or what I'm doing, and then apply for it. My intention was to at least try and get 1 interview. The goal I always had was, if I don't need to get 100 job interviews, I don't need to get 5 or 10 job interviews, I just need 1. And that's the one I need to crack. So that gave me a clear vision of what I need to do. Because I think most aspirants, what they usually do is they try and get as many jobs as they can, or a couple of jobs. But I think at that point, the focus diverts. I was mainly of the opinion that I just need 1 job to work out for me, and that's all I need. So that will secure my entry into Germany. So I started applying, and then I was lucky enough to get a job interview within a month's time. I also happened to receive constant replies from the HR people for the companies that I was applying for. That also kept me motivated. I mean, though the replies were not to my expectation, they said, no, we are not looking for people from India at this time, but we are looking for something else. But what kept me going was the replies and the dedication to keep going every day. I think the discipline is important, to put it simply.
Okay. Yeah, great. Would you also mind telling us about the platform which finally gave you this job opportunity? So you said 2 names.
That would be Glassdoor. That would be
Okay.
Glassdoor.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Glassdoor is the website that I was mostly on. I would say 80% of every 30 minutes I spent every day was on Glassdoor, trying to find which companies I can apply for, trying to find different roles.
Perfect. Okay, so the next question is the German language mandatory to apply to jobs in Germany while you are still in India? If no, how to find jobs where the German language is not needed?
Yeah. In most cases, the job description clearly indicates the language skills that you might require. In most cases, right? But majority of the IT jobs don't need you to have a German language skill. Again, I was also trying to apply the same principle. If there are 100 jobs that require that are in Germany, 80% are the ones that require German language skills. Let me focus on the 20% only. I'm not going to compete for the rest 80 because I had no German language skills at this time. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
So to answer your question very simply, it is not mandatory, but I would strongly recommend aspirants to get started if they're serious about moving to Germany. Because in my opinion, there are only two ways you can integrate with the culture and then have a good living, is food and language.
Yes. Okay. So the next one is, do you feel that the recruiters prefer German candidates over non-Germans?
I would say, now if I were a recruiter, I would prefer a German candidate. Having said that, it doesn't mean there are no opportunities for people outside Germany. There is still certain market or certain scope for people outside Germany, especially in the IT area, right? Over the conversations I've had with several people here in Germany, most of them, not everyone, most of them are of the opinion that people in India have good IT skills, and if they need to recruit someone for a good IT job, it would be someone from India. That's the opinion I've come across. So I would say yes, there is a preference for Germans. At the same time, I will also say that people do consider other profiles or profiles from other countries, especially for IT jobs for Indians. That's out of my experience.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so the next one is, you came to Germany with your family, right? And so could
Yeah,
you please explain the visa application process for yourself as well as for the family,
yeah.
in a
I
short
think this is
summary?
something.
Yeah.
Sure. I think this will be useful for most aspirants, and I think when you're applying, what I did was I went on to the VFS website,
Mhm.
uh, VFS Global, and then indiadiplo.de. These are the two websites where you will find information about type of visa and your eligibility for visa. So I just went on to the India Diplo website, checked what type of visa was I eligible for, and then I went on to the VFS website to see if they were accepting applications for dependents also. Uh, the application for employee plus dependents differs from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, depending on which state you are in or which jurisdiction your embassy falls under. So I was falling under Hyderabad jurisdiction, which is the Chennai embassy. So they were accepting employment visa with dependents, which some of the other embassies were not accepting at that time.
Mhm.
Um, so I had to stay on phone calls back in early September for about 3 hours, 2 hours to just to talk to one person at VFS, and finally I was lucky to get an appointment. Um, as such, it wasn't difficult on the day of the appointment. We just went there, submitted all of our documents at VFS office in Hyderabad. Very good, friendly staff. Uh, of course, it's not like an interview. Most people expect that questions will be asked. You'll be asked about this. You'll be asked about that. No, VFS is just a processing agency. They'll just take your documents, send it to the embassy. And from the day I applied, I got my visa approval within 5 days, and within the next 3 days, I also got my passport stamped for all of us.
That's really good. So you are saying that in VFS there is no interview process at all.
Yes,
Okay.
for me and for a couple of other colleagues that I know of, a couple of my friends, there is no interview process. And people tend to think they do interview people, but as far as my experience goes and my analysis goes, I don't think they interview people.
Mhm.
They're only a processing agency, so they'll take your documents, send it to the embassy for processing.
Okay. Cool. Because back in 2019, when I applied, it was only the Chennai consulate. There was no VFS at that moment, and they used to
Yeah,
interview each and everyone. So yes.
correct. And just to give you some recent information, I've also talked to one of my friend's friend in Hyderabad, uh, who was asked to appear at the Chennai embassy now instead of VFS for employment visa. So maybe I think it was because of COVID they were doing everything at VFS Hyderabad, because during September India was still under you know high levels of COVID cases.
Yes.
Probably it worked out for me that like that. But I think now, as I told you, they're calling people over to Chennai, and I'm sure there'll be an interview process if you're asked to appear at the embassy.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, so moving on to the next question, which is how much money one should have while traveling to Germany for the first time and in what mode? So, for example, cash in euros or in a travel card or credit card from India. So, which should be the preferred mode of, carrying cash with you?
Yeah, sure. I would firstly refrain anyone to carry a depend on an Indian credit card, primarily because there is a currency conversion fee. So most credit cards charge around 3% of your transaction as a currency conversion fee. So which is very high. But I would recommend that to be kept as a backup option just in case something goes wrong, right?
Yes.
And then the best way is to carry cash. So if you have 80% cash and 20% in a travel card or a multi-currency card that is given by the banks. For a family of four, me, my wife, and two kids, we were carrying around 2,000 euros. I think that's also a little bit on the higher side because we had kids, we wanted to be just sure that there were no additional expenses or accidental expenses, I would say. So I split it like 80-20, 80% in cash and then 20% in card because uh, more, unlike India here, it is not as digitalized as it is in India in terms of payments. So you can't expect people to take card even at a small store or you know digital payments anywhere. So it's better to carry cash. That will be ideal.
Okay, so you're saying you carried with you 2,000 euros, and how you managed the first month rental and all that stuff with that amount? Because when I came to Germany, I had to
Yeah, yeah,
carry with me around 4,000 euros, but still I was short of, I think, 1,000 euros.
yeah, yeah. So I think to put it more clearly again, 2,000 euros was excluding the rent.
Okay, okay, then it makes sense.
So
Yes.
I booked an Airbnb online, so I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to carry any amount for that. So I think the 2,000
Okay.
was mostly towards groceries and other incidental expenses.
Okay, perfect. Okay, then the next one is, was there any negative impact of the ongoing COVID lockdown on your job search or the visa application process or the travel itself?
Yeah. For my job search, I would say, to be honest, it had a positive impact. I mean, most of uh, most of them will say, "What is this?" But I would say it had a positive impact because I believe the recruiters were of the opinion that they could hire anyone from anywhere. Uh, and now that most of us are working from home, and we tend to be more productive, or at least that's what everyone says. I think it had a negative or a reverse effect where I think recruiters will tend to believe that it's okay to hire someone without actually physically seeing them. That is my personal opinion in terms of job search. Uh, in terms of the market, I think there was a little compared to what I've experienced with other guys who searched last year. I think there was little lag in terms of number of job offers.
Hmm.
But the bright side was people were open to hire someone remotely.
Okay.
For my visa application, yeah, at the time I had my job offer, the embassy was still not accepting job applications for employment. So I had to wait like 15 or 20 days before I could get an appointment. And
Hmm.
then it was 30 days after I called VFS, I got an appointment. So it was like a 45-day waiting period for me before I could finally go to VFS. Uh,
Okay.
in terms of the travel, I was very very worried that what if flights get cancelled? What if I have job offer in hand but I can't fly? That was the worry I had, but I don't think it was very much under my control. So
Yes.
I just had to let it go the way it goes. But what I was constantly doing was following Twitter DGCA.
Hmm.
DGCA is the Twitter handle for Department of Civil Aviation in India. and I was
Mm-hmm.
getting constant updates of when air bubbles are open, when are they getting closed, is there a cancellation? Because there was a certain point of time, I think in October, where the flights were completely canceled between India and Germany for a period of like 15 or 20 days,
Yes.
and then they were reopened.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the last question from my side is, do you have some tips for our group members or the channel subscribers who are watching this video? So who wants to, come from India to Germany and settle here? So any tips for them?
Sure, of course, Anu. I think the first thing what I would recommend everyone to have is to have a very positive attitude. It is more important than anything else in this entire process, because there'll be situations where one would not get responses from job search. But it's important to stay on track, and then continue with a positive attitude that there is definitely an opportunity, because I personally believe there is a good opportunity for the people in the IT sector. The second thing is commitment. You should commit to your cause. Um, Spend 30 minutes every day or 40 minutes, whatever works for you. Have a constant routine where you are job hunting. And even in the job hunting process, I think what's more important is uh, you stick to a routine. And also, what I've observed in the interviews is people don't tend to focus as much on the technical side of technical skills of the individual as we have in India. They tend to try and understand what you are as a person, how you can solve problems, what is your attitude. So they look at you as a 360 degree, from a 360 degree perspective, where they try and understand what kind of person you are. Of course, the technical skills are also important, but they're not as important as one would think they are in India. So these are the things I think would be helpful for people aspiring to move to Germany and searching for a job from India.
Okay, great advices. And then I think that's all from my side. And thank you for all the valuable information that you have given through this interview. And we, as a group, wish you good luck with your new job here. And thank you for your time. And that was a really nice interview. Then,
Thank you, Anup, and I wish you and all the viewers belated Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and good luck for all those people who are searching for jobs from India.
thank you, Raghu, and have a nice day. Have a nice evening, actually. And goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.